My name is Richard Boulet, and this is my exhibition. It's a show about understanding and desiring others to understand as well. The longer title is, Art Thou the Accuser of Thy Brethren, or Art Thou the Inspiration of Their Heart? For me, that has to do with the way I was raised. There's other ways of saying the same thing, like, don't judge a book by its cover, walk a mile in their shoes before you pass judgment. It's been a journey, but my brother David says I've had a type of life that is ideal for an artist, with so many different types of experiences and challenges. Schizophrenia was kind of forced on me, so I decided to empower myself by making art about it. Being gay snuck up on me as well. That's been a struggle, but these days I'm happy with both of those situations. And it was having an art practice always offered me hope, and it always kept me moving forward, regardless of difficulty.
I'm Wayne Berwald. I'm the curator of the exhibition for Richard Boulet. What drew me to Richard's work was his ability to work with fine craft textile and take it out of its ghetto as simple craft by introducing language, by introducing what we call concrete poetry, by using very simple provisional means to do a cross stitch, for example, to produce a line or two that becomes a poem. And that was really interesting for me, to see that transformed and to see the work be elevated beyond craft into another realm that was opening up in the art world in a very specific way.
I remember from my MFA exhibition, the last person to leave the gallery pulled me aside and told me about how she had to visit her father, who was in a psych ward. And we talked about art a bit, and then when she found out I was working on mental health, we just talked mental health instead. I remember when we parted, there was a little bit of worry in Wayne's eyes. Lots of empathy, lots of vulnerability, and I knew at that point that he was someone I could work with. I think there's a real need for mental health talk. Honest and open and complete mental health conversations need to happen. The biggest challenge in my textile process is the day's too short. Sometimes I'll just work all night. Friday night for me is working all night on a cross stitch and talking to my brother at 4 a.m. So. It's pretty exciting. I just give it my best shot. I don't worry about if my stitching is perfectly straight or anything like that. I love art that shows that a person is trying and a person is learning. There's time for precision, and then there's time for just not being too self-judging formally or conceptually. So I try to be easy on myself.
Well, some of the challenges that I faced, first of all, textile-based. There's quilting, there's applique, there's work that has traditionally come into a bit of a silo as handicraft. And I think it takes time to have people read the work differently, to look at the influences, to think about concrete poetry if they're not familiar with that, to think about the literary influences that are embedded. Sometimes it's not so overt. I think it's sometimes convincing people of the work's place in the art history in the making. But I think over the last 2 or 3, 4 years, things have opened up a great deal. So those sort of challenges that I've just mentioned have sort of melted away.
I know people enjoy my work. It's celebratory. It's meant to be life-affirming. As time goes on and my practice keeps on maturing and changing, I'm hoping people will relate to it even more. And if there's a message that I could get across, it's that life can be a lot like slow stitch. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be grand. It can be small and careful.